Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how I care for my alocasia, how I make it easy from growing corm to transferring to LECA and that sort of thing. I do have a cold and so I'm trying to rough it out in my pajamas and as shriveled as I look until I go to work. So I'm not going to be getting on camera today. Anyway, so I've transferred most of my alocasia to LECA. And it's doing really good for me. A lot of stuff has died back, but is coming back. It's growing. And other things I have started from corm. And other things, yeah, I'm just bringing back from what could potentially be the dead. So let's check it out. So let's talk about my oldest one for a while. This is Alocasia poly. This is grown from corm. I bought a 6-inch pot at Lowe's and it had lots of corms in it. So I propagated those corms in Sphagnum Moss with saran wrap over the top just of an old deli container. I put a few ventilation holes in the saran wrap and put a rubber band around the whole thing. Put it on a heat mat under my grow light and corms began to start to grow in a matter of a couple weeks. I want to say I have gotten to this point on this corm probably a couple months now. And as you can see, it's in a clear pot with LECA. And the roots are starting to spread out in it. I've transferred it into it's a more of a permanent environment from Sphagnum Moss to LECA maybe 2 weeks ago. And it's doing just fine. It was kind of leaned over because of how the cellophane was crushing the leaf, but it's straightening back up slowly but surely. So this is my cute little baby Alocasia poly. Isn't it beautiful? It's really pretty. I love the little venation in it and the glossiness of the leaves. So I don't have it in any special humidity conditions. My house fluctuates quite a bit, especially since I don't have air conditioning in the summer. And it seems to be doing just fine in ambient temperatures. Okay, so this is the Alocasia poly, one of them that did not die. It's actually starting to grow roots, and I am experimenting propagating it in perlite, doing the semi-hydroponic method just with perlite. Perlite will eventually, you know, dissolve into nothing or in a bunch of mush, but you see the roots growing on down in there. And then the top looks like something's happening. See, there's another root trying to go down into the perlite. There looks like there could be potentially some mold up top. I don't know. I'm going to kind of just leave that alone for a while unless I like really need to intervene. I guess if I would have peeled away all this stuff, it would probably grow faster. Well, that's okay, you know. I'm okay with it taking its time. And all I got over this for humidity is a sandwich bag with a couple of ventilation holes in it, as you can see. And this is a detergent cap. There's no drainage holes or anything like that. When I dump out these, usually I don't even make it that far. I would just put my hand over like that if I needed to. But I usually wait until these dry out, and this one's pretty close to it, so I'm going to go ahead and top it off with what I call the sauce. And yes, I got that from Nora at LECA Queen. You've not watched her YouTube channel. This is just Hormex rooting hormone and SuperThrive Foliage Pro or Foliage Focus. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it exactly is. But I'll just fill up this laundry soap cap until about 1/3 of the way up. Doing little bits at a time to give it time to get settled around the bottom of the cap. I don't know if it'll pick up on camera the water line or not, but it is about 1/3 of the way full. And then I just plop this baggie back on top. We'll put it back on the heat mat. Now, when the temperature starts staying over 70 degrees at night, I'll turn the heat mat off. I don't need it. All right. Here is a new corms. These are blue dragon corms gifted to me by my plant friend. I'm going to be sticking them right in the Sphagnum Moss though. And so every once in a while I'll just take these off, especially the smaller the container, the more they're going to dry out. And I have what I labeled this bottle, a moss pole blend, but it's the same thing as the sauce, just put into a shaker bottle, a spray bottle, I mean. And I'll just give it a good spray. Put the lid back on and put it back. And eventually I will put this into a bigger propagation cup, but for now this is just fine. All right, so let's take a look at, this label is so wrong in here. I thought it was something different. This is Alocasia Platinum Bisma, and it has died back. And there's 2 corms in there. And this started out with a smaller hole in the top, but since it's got a new leaf on, I'm trying to slowly acclimate it to my ambient conditions. And I don't think that's absolutely necessary considering what I've seen my poly doing, but I'm still waiting also on that other corm to sprout a leaf. And it looks like it's working on a couple of them now. As you can see, there's some roots in there that are sloughing off, some of the old roots, and new water roots growing in there too. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna flush this. And I don't need to water it, but I'm just gonna go through the motions with you just because I'm showing you, for example. So I like this setup better with the drainage hole inside of a cache pot because I can flush it easier. Check the pots out, make sure they don't smell funky or anything like that. Give them a rinse. And you're just going to stick it under lukewarm tap water and just rinse all those balls out. Rinse everything out. Alright, that's good. Get that much as that tap water out as I can. Okay, and then so I'm going to take my cache pot here and fill up about 1/3 of the bottom of it. And plop my cup back in there. Loop. Oh, but I always forget this part when I'm doing this with this plant. Let's put the sandwich bag on top of there first before I plop it back in there. And the reason why you want to flush your LECA or your pond or whatever semi-hydric substrate you're growing in is because you'll get salt and mineral buildup on the substrate, which can block the water flow from the capillary action that the substrate provides. So it's a good idea to do that and to keep it from getting moldy and gross and all that fun stuff and better looking. All right. So we've got that, and what else should I talk about here? Oh, my Alocasia Jacqueline. I tried doing what the LECA Queen called doing the long method with my Alocasia Jacqueline, and it ended up just rotting, but luckily I've pulled off a few corms in there, so I've got them in this cup, and this cup does not need misted at all. It is plenty moist. I mean, you don't want it soaking, you want it like a damp sponge. But I got mine on a heat mat, so it tends to dry out a little faster, especially at the bottom. And I will say my favorite Alocasia for the time is my dragon scale. This is one of the first Alocasias I purchased, and it is dry. I just repotted this and had yet to water it again. Look how the roots are already overtaking this. I've probably uppotted this a little over a week ago. And the roots are just loving it. They are loving it. It's got new leaf coming out. I did lose a cute few leaves off this bad boy, but this leaf is really sizing up. It's like the size of my hand now. And this one's so cute too. But see the little white on top and all that? That's starting to be salt and mineral buildup on there. And you don't have to flush every time you water, but like once a month or so is fine. But I like to try to do it every time I water just to keep up on it. And these are the Greenpara 6-inch, and the other one's a 4-inch nursery pots available on Amazon. I can link them in the description if you want. And these are just Costa Farms cash pots of other plants. Same thing with this one, a third of the way up, which it looks like I need to make some more sauce. And how I make the sauce is a gallon of spring water, distilled water, or rainwater mixed with a teaspoon of Hormex rooting hormone and one, did I say tablespoon? I meant to say teaspoon. And another teaspoon of the SuperThrive Foliage Pro, whatever it's called. And then I just shake it up and I keep it on hand. And I just plop her back up in there and chuck her back under the grow lights. And she seems to be happy with my cheap Amazon grow lights. And yeah, but one day she's going to get too big for that spot, so I'm going to have to figure something else out. But she is gorgeous and she is so easy. She didn't die all the way back like my Alocasia poly did, so it makes me want to get more of these like turtle shell, thicker leaf Alocasias, like maybe Mellow, Maharani, Silver Dragon, Cupria, Alocasias like that. All right, everybody, my voice is going out now, so thank you for stopping by. I love you, and so does Jesus. God bless.